Have you ever heard of a man who transformed the idea of lending money into a global revolution? A man who gave power to the poorest of the poor, not with weapons, but with one small loan at a time. Dr. Mohammad Yunus, a Bangladeshi economist and social entrepreneur, did just that. But here's what most people don't know. When he first started giving microloans to poor women in rural Bangladesh, he used money from his own pocket. And do you know how much the first loan was? Only $27 in total, to 42 women. What's even more surprising is that major banks laughed at him. They said the poor couldn't be trusted with money. But Yunus believed otherwise, and that belief eventually led him to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. Not for economics, but for peace. Why? Because he proved that economic empowerment can reduce violence and promote stability in society. This is not just a biography. This is the story of one man who redefined banking, economics, and hope itself. So, before we dive deeper into the inspiring journey of Dr. Mohammad Yunus, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful life stories like this one. Now in his 80s, Dr. Mohammad Yunus continues to travel, speak, and promote the idea of social business, a concept he pioneered. Unlike traditional businesses that aim for profit, social businesses solve problems like poverty, healthcare, and education while sustaining themselves financially. He runs the Yunus Center in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which serves as a global hub for spreading his ideas. He's been mentoring young entrepreneurs across the globe, encouraging them to build businesses not for profit alone, but for the betterment of society. In recent years, he has focused on climate change, unemployment, and the role of youth in shaping the future. Despite facing political opposition in his home country, his influence remains global. From the United Nations to the World Economic Forum, his voice is still heard loud and clear. Long before he became a Nobel laureate, little Mohammad Yunus was just another curious boy growing up in the port city of Chittagong, British India. He was full of questions, always asking his parents, why? And what if? One of the most adorable stories from his childhood is how he once tried to set up a mini marketplace in his backyard, charging his siblings pretend money to buy toys and snacks. He was known in his neighborhood as the Little Professor because he would gather younger kids and pretend to teach them with a chalkboard and stick. His curiosity and leadership started early, even if it was just pretend play. Born on June 28, 1940, in the village of Bathwa near Chittagong, Mohammad Yunus was the third of 14 children. His father was a jeweler and encouraged academic learning, while his mother was a compassionate soul, often helping the needy. These two influences, discipline and empathy, would later define Yunus's mission in life. Growing up in post-colonial turmoil, Yunus witnessed deep poverty from an early age. He often wondered why some people had everything while others had nothing. Even as a child, these questions gnawed at him. His mother's mental health struggles also shaped his understanding of vulnerability and human resilience. After completing his undergraduate studies in Bangladesh, Yunus received a Fulbright scholarship and went to the United States to study at Vanderbilt University. Life in America was not easy. He missed his family, his culture, and even the spicy food. But his biggest challenge came later, after returning to Bangladesh in 1972. The country was newly independent, devastated by war and poverty. Yunus took a job as a professor at Chittagong University, but seeing starving people outside his classroom windows made him feel useless. He realized that teaching textbook economics wasn't enough. People needed real solutions, not theories. In 1976, during a visit to the nearby village of Jobra, Yunus met a woman who made bamboo stools. Despite working hard all day, she earned barely enough to survive. Why? Because she had to borrow money from local loan sharks at extremely high interest rates. This was his aha moment. He began lending small amounts of money to poor women, without any collateral. To everyone's surprise, they paid him back in full, and often early. This small act sparked the birth of Grameen Bank, a revolutionary institution built on trust and dignity, not profit. Grameen Bank expanded rapidly. By the 1990s, it had helped millions of people, mostly women, start small businesses and lift themselves out of poverty. Yunus's method became a model across the world, from Africa to Latin America. He was invited to speak at global conferences and received dozens of awards. In 2006, he achieved the ultimate recognition, the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't just celebrate the award. He used the platform to push for global microfinance initiatives, calling poverty a man-made problem that can be solved. The first big success came when the women in Jobra village turned their lives around with Yunus's help. They could feed their children, send them to school, and even save money. But success didn't come without backlash. Conservative groups criticized him for empowering women. Politicians accused him of using foreign money for personal fame. Banks dismissed his model as charity. But Yunus didn't stop. He believed in trust, and that the poor are creditworthy. He was proven right again and again. In 2011, Dr. Yunus faced perhaps the toughest battle of his career. The Bangladeshi government forced him to resign from Grameen Bank, citing age limitations. Many believe it was politically motivated. It was a painful moment, being removed from the very institution he had created with love and purpose. He challenged the decision legally, but the court didn't rule in his favor. Yet, even in defeat, he didn't break down. He simply said, institutions should not depend on one person. They must survive beyond their founder. Aside from the professional attacks, Yunus also endured the slow erosion of public support in his homeland. Some media outlets ran smear campaigns. For a man who had brought global pride to Bangladesh, it was heartbreaking. But Yunus never lashed out in anger. He focused on the bigger picture, building a world of zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. Instead of fighting back with bitterness, Yunus doubled down on his mission. He established Yunus Social Business globally and continued working with the UN and global leaders. He turned the pain into purpose, showing the world that even when your country turns against you, your values don't have to. Dr. Yunus was featured on the cover of Time magazine. He has received over 100 awards from around the world. His students still call him Sir with pride. His microfinance model inspired Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi to start a similar program in India. Many people don't know that Dr. Yunus also tried to enter politics in 2007 but quickly withdrew. He realized that politics and social innovation don't always mix. Changing the world doesn't always need a political position, he once said. It needs courage and compassion. Once in a conference, a Western banker asked him, "How do you ensure poor people repay?" Yunus smiled and said, "Because they have honor. Something banks can't measure with credit scores." This is not just the story of a man, it's a blueprint for changing the world. From a small village in Bangladesh to Nobel stages, Dr. Mohammad Yunus proves that one idea, if driven by compassion, can change millions of lives. Yunus's legacy is not just Grameen Bank or the Nobel Prize. It's the countless women who became business owners. It's the children who went to school because their mothers could afford it. It's the idea that even the smallest act of kindness can ripple across the world. I believe that we can create a world where poverty only exists in museums. Dr. Mohammad Yunus. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You never know, the next person to change the world could be you.